So someone else got the promotion, you know him, he's not bad at his job, but let's be honest, he's not the star either. His work, mediocre at best, but what about his calendar? That's where it gets interesting. But his calendar, that's a masterpiece, filled with lunches you weren't invited to and meetings that never appeared on any official schedule. Your first thought is, this isn't fair. You're right, it's not fair. But fair stopped being the point a long time ago. You're not in a meritocracy. You're in a risk management simulation. And your colleague didn't win on skills. He won because he's a safer bet. This isn't about good versus evil. It's about cold system logic. And I'm going to show you why, in the eyes of the machine, a predictable friend is always more valuable than a brilliant stranger. First, let's check your own status. Are you seeing the signs? Sign 1, the predictability principle. You're brilliant but unpredictable. You have wild ideas. You question the sacred cows. He's steady. You know exactly what he'll say in a meeting, what report he'll file, and what mistake he's likely to make. To the person at the top, your brilliance is a potential liability. His predictability is an asset. It's not exciting, but it's safe. Sign 2, the information funnel. You communicate in data and deliverables. He communicates in whispers and warnings. He's the one who hears things and gives a heads up. He's not just an employee, he's the boss's early warning system. He translates the chaos of the company into a simple, reassuring narrative. Sign 3, the shared life raft. If the ship goes down, you have a professional lifeboat called My Resume. He and the boss are tied together. Their fates are linked by more than a job title, by favors owed, secrets kept, years of shared history. In a crisis, you're a capable sailor. He's part of the crew that owns the ship. If this sounds familiar, you didn't lose a competition. You were evaluated in the wrong category. They were judging risk, and you brought skill to the table. But here's the real question. Why does the guy who isn't the most talented always seem to win? The answer isn't about merit. It's about something far more strategic. Here's how the system actually works, and it runs on 3 brutal rules you need to understand, or you'll keep playing the game wrong. Rule 1, the control premium. People at the top aren't paid to be geniuses. They're paid to be in control. The single greatest threat to control is the unknown. A wildly talented person is a glorious unknown. What are their real motives? Where are their loyalties? Could they become a rival? A loyal, predictable person might not be the most talented, but in a system built on control, they are the safest bet. But here's where it gets tricky. What happens when the system mistakes safety for stability? What happens when predictability isn't enough? I've seen this in Silicon Valley 100 times. A founder chooses a loyal lieutenant over a star outsider every single time. The lieutenant might only get the company to 80% of its potential, but that 80% will be the founder's 80%. The star might get it to 120% or stage a coup and take it all. The system pays a massive hidden premium for control, and it comes directly out of the budget for excellence. Quick test. Next time there's a surprise promotion, don't ask what did they accomplish. Ask what fear did they soothe. Rule 2, the lazy judge tax. Evaluating real complex work is hard. It takes time, expertise, and nuance. Evaluating how much you like and trust someone is easy. It's fast, emotional, and happens instinctively. Think about how partners are chosen at a fancy consulting firm or law firm. The committee isn't running complex algorithms on work quality. They're asking a much simpler question. Is this someone I'd want to be stuck in an airport with during a 6-hour delay? Or more accurately. Do they understand our unspoken rules? Do they make me feel smart and secure? The person who is a master at managing up, who remembers the boss's kid's name and the preferred scotch, is paying a tax. They're trading the hard currency of skill for the easy currency of social comfort. And at the highest levels, comfort is the only currency that never loses value. Rule 3, the crisis insurance policy. This is the big one. Skills are for sunny days. Relationships are for storms. When a real crisis hits, a lawsuit, a scandal, a massive failure, the person at the top doesn't need a genius. They need a co-conspirator. Not for anything illegal, but for the brutal, messy, politically dangerous work of survival. I saw this after a major regulatory scandal at a bank. The task was a deep internal review, a job designed to find blame. Who did they put in charge? Not the sharpest forensic accountant. They put in charge the guy who had been the CEO's right hand for 15 years, the guy whose career was the CEO's career. Because his mission wasn't just to review, his mission was to protect, to manage the fallout, to control the narrative, to take the heat. A skilled outsider would have followed the facts. A loyal insider follows the mission. Survive. In that moment, the network of trust isn't a social club. It's an immune system. And it will attack any threat, even if that threat is the truth or a more qualified person. Now, the crucial mental shift. The person who got promoted isn't necessarily a villain. They're playing a different game. You thought you were in the Olympics of skill. They were in the quieter, higher stakes Olympics of risk reduction. They won gold in making the boss feel safe. That's a real medal in this world. So what can you do? You can't stop the game, but you can stop being a pawn. Tool 1, become predictably good. Don't stop being smart. Instead, start being the kind of smart they can't ignore. Show your process. Make your decisions so predictable they know exactly what you're going to do. You might think that's boring, but here's why it's actually your best move. Because predictability isn't just reliability, it's survival. Explain your process. Show your work. Make your decision-making so clear that it becomes boringly reliable. You're not selling flashes of brilliance. You're selling a low-maintenance, high-reliability brain. Tool 2, frame your work as risk management. Stop presenting just the answer. Present the threats you neutralized along the way. Here's the plan, and here are the 3 big risks it avoids that the other options didn't. You're no longer a problem solver, you're an anxiety reduction unit. That's a language Power understands. Tool 3, build a functional network, not a political one. Forget trying to be best friends with the CEO. Become the indispensable connector between departments. Be the person who can get things done across silos because you're known as competent and neutral. This isn't brown-nosing, it's building utility. Your network isn't based on loyalty, but on repeated successful transactions. Let's destroy one comforting lie, the most dangerous one. If I just become the absolute best at my job, none of this matters. Wrong. The better you are, the more you matter, and the more of a threat you become. Exceptional uncontrolled talent is the #1 thing a political system seeks to either absorb or neutralize. Believing in pure meritocracy in a political environment is like bringing a chess strategy to a poker game. You're playing wrong, so you're left with real, ugly choices. You can double down on expertise, become the brilliant specialist everyone uses but never promotes. Trading influence for peace. You can learn the political language, make selective alliances, and spend a significant part of your energy playing the trust game. Or you can build parallel power. becoming so useful to so many different groups that you create your own gravity, making yourself hard to ignore or remove. The worst choice is to stand in the middle, resenting the players while hoping the rules will change for you. The rules are the game, and the game is rigged for safety, not for justice. You don't need to like this, you just need to understand it. Because once you stop fighting the system and start seeing the game for what it is, everything changes. But here's the catch. If you don't keep watching, you'll miss the one thing that could turn the tide in your favor. What's the missing piece? It's coming next. But remember the value of these relationships. This trust, it's not permanent. It's currency. And like any currency, it can hyperinflate or become worthless overnight. The moment that happens is the moment everything changes. A crisis doesn't just break things. It reveals the true hierarchy. It shows who is truly tied to the mast and who is just along for the ride. And in that revelation, the most unexpected people can find themselves rocketed to the top. Why? Because when survival is the only goal, the rules of the game get rewritten in real time. And that is the perfect setup for what comes next. Next, L3-36, why promotions happen after a crisis, when the old playbook burns.